The brands that once made ordinary people save, dream, and line up are now watching those same shoppers walk away. Not because beauty died, not because taste disappeared, because the deal changed. In this video, you will see why famous houses are losing the customers who built their heat, how price, status, resale, culture, and trust are breaking the spell, and how to spot when prestige is real or just expensive packaging. For years, luxury did not just sell leather, fabric, perfume, or watches. It sold a ladder, and millions believed the first step was reachable. It was never only a purchase. It was a personal ceremony. The dream was simple. Work hard, buy one special piece, feel part of a world usually reserved for people born closer to the front door. That is why the loss feels emotional, not merely economic. That buyer was not always rich. Often that buyer was careful, proud, patient, and emotionally invested in the promise of lasting value. They were the proof that the fantasy could travel outside private clubs. Now the ladder feels higher, thinner, and strangely colder. The door is still open, but the welcome mat feels like it was priced separately. And when that feeling breaks, discounts cannot easily repair it. The uncomfortable truth is this. Luxury brands did not become famous only because billionaires bought them. They became famous because culture copied them. The logo on the subway, the bag at graduation, the perfume on a first job salary, the belt in a family photo, all made luxury visible. When those customers leave, luxury does not just lose sales. It loses street proof, social proof, and the free advertising money cannot buy. The first reason is price fatigue, not normal inflation. A deeper feeling that the price moved faster than the magic. The receipt became the plot twist. Bain reported the personal luxury goods market was expected around 358 billion euros in 2025, slightly below the year before. That sounds huge, but the shock is not size. The shock is that luxury can be enormous and still feel weaker at the edges. After the post-pandemic shopping rush, the market stopped floating on easy emotion. People began asking one brutal question. Is this worth it? The easy money era gave brands confidence, then gave customers comparison power. McKinsey found that price increases drove more than 80% of luxury growth from 2019 to 2024. That means a lot of growth came from charging more, not necessarily from selling much more or making the product feel much better. Here is where the controversy begins. If a brand raises prices to protect exclusivity, it may also train loyal shoppers to feel excluded. That is the trade-off many boardrooms do not like to say out loud. The old customer could accept expensive. Expensive was part of the ritual. What hurts is expensive plus ordinary service, ordinary quality, and ordinary creativity. That combination is where resentment grows. Luxury used to whisper, "You are entering a special world." Today, some shoppers feel it whispers, "Pay more and stop asking questions." The second reason is the aspirational buyer pullback. This is the customer who bought less often but made the brand culturally loud. Bain and other luxury trackers have warned that millions of luxury customers have disappeared from the active buyer pool since the boom years. Some estimates put the lost customer count in the tens of millions. That is not a small mood swing. It means the people who made the dream look reachable are deciding the dream is no longer fair. Those missing buyers once filled malls, airports, feeds, and waiting rooms with excitement. These buyers still like style. They still watch fashion. They still care about taste. They are not anti-luxury. They are anti-feeling played. They are comparing receipts, stitching, resale prices, store treatment, and social media reviews. The old spell now faces a very bright flashlight. Screenshots replaced blind faith. The third reason is that brands pushed too hard on the ultra-rich and forgot the doorway customer. The ultra-rich buyer is powerful, but that buyer does not create the same public hunger as millions of ordinary people wanting one piece. Yet fame needs repetition, and repetition usually comes from many smaller buyers. A room full of whales can keep revenue alive. A world full of dreamers keeps a brand famous. A logo seen only in penthouses becomes quieter in public life. When brands chase only the highest spender, they may protect margins but starve the culture that made the logo meaningful. The fourth reason is quiet luxury changing the rules. Loud status is not gone, but the public mood around showing wealth has shifted. In uncertain times, some people do not want their outfit to scream price. They want quality that does not look like a billboard. That hurts brands that trained customers to treat logos as a shortcut. If the logo is less useful, the object must carry more weight. The fifth reason is that resale exposed the truth. Shoppers can now see which products hold value and which collapse after purchase. Suddenly, the secondary market became a truth machine. Luxury used to control the story inside the boutique. Resale platforms moved part of that story into public view. When a buyer sees a nearly new item selling far below retail, the fantasy changes. The product starts looking less like treasure and more like depreciation. That lesson is hard to unlearn. Resale also teaches people product history. They learn which seasons are loved, which materials age badly, and which designs were hype with handles. The sixth reason is the dupe economy. Many shoppers are not confused. They know a dupe is not the original. That is the point. BUF and McKinsey reported that many shoppers have turned toward off-price, resale, and dupes because value now matters loudly. The copy became a comment on the original. When a customer buys a lookalike, the brand may call it imitation. The customer may call it protest. This is not only about saving money. It is about control. The buyer decides the dream is no longer sacred enough to obey. In plain terms, the cheaper option became socially safer than expected. The shame has changed sides. It used to be embarrassing to buy the cheaper version. Now some people feel smart for refusing the markup. The seventh reason is quality suspicion. This is dangerous because luxury depends on trust more than almost any other category. Trust is slow to build and fast to stain. A single loose thread does not destroy a heritage house. But thousands of shoppers sharing doubts can weaken the emotional contract. People do not expect perfection from everything. They expect luxury to be the place where excuses stop. Especially when the brand keeps saying craft while the buyer sees compromise. If prices rise while customers believe materials, finishing, or service have slipped, the word heritage begins to sound like cover. The eighth reason is store experience. A boutique can make a customer feel seen or make them feel auditioned. This is why one rude visit can echo longer than one beautiful campaign. The old dream was service, care, patience, and memory. The bad modern version is a velvet rope followed by cold pressure. Customers can tolerate scarcity. What they reject is being made to beg for the privilege of spending money. Luxury selling often uses controlled access, wait lists, appointment systems, and relationship building. When done well, it feels personal. The illusion breaks when the customer realizes the house needs them too. When done badly, it feels like a game where the rules are hidden and the customer is always slightly beneath the house. The ninth reason is the handbag problem. Bags became the perfect luxury entry point, then the perfect place for price shock. People can research old prices in seconds. A bag is visible, useful, emotional, and easy to compare. That makes it powerful, but also dangerous when price outruns desire. Once the entry bag becomes unreachable, the new buyer delays, buys vintage, buys contemporary, or stops pretending the goal matters. In that moment, the customer does not feel poorer. The brand feels less necessary. The 10th reason is beauty and fragrance doing emotional work that fashion used to do. Fragrance lets someone enter a luxury world without buying a coat or a bag. But it can also reveal the gap between access and belonging. Small luxury goods create reach. The risk is that customers feel invited to buy the cheapest symbol, not welcomed into a real relationship. Entry without dignity can feel like a souvenir stand outside the castle. The 11th reason is China no longer acting like an endless engine. Bain reported that mainland China luxury spending fell sharply in 2024 and remained cautious into 2025. That matters because global luxury built many growth plans around Chinese demand, travel spending, and confidence that would keep rising. Luxury cannot control a national mood. When confidence weakens, the most symbolic purchases are easier to postpone. A bag can wait. A mortgage, job worry, or family plan cannot. The 12th reason is tourism losing some heat. Luxury loves travelers because a trip turns shopping into memory. But when exchange rates, conflict, visa patterns, or flight costs change, tourist spending can cool fast. Travel retail is powerful, but it is fragile power. Then brands discover something painful. A flagship store can look beautiful and still feel too dependent on visitors who may not arrive. The 13th reason is generational skepticism. Younger shoppers grew up seeing marketing tricks decoded in public. They know scarcity can be manufactured. They know influencers get paid. They know a wait list can be theater. They are fluent in the machinery of desire. That does not make them impossible to impress. It means they need stronger proof before they surrender. The 14th reason is the older customer being overlooked. Fashion kept chasing youth while wealth often sat elsewhere. They want receipts, not romance alone. McKinsey and fashion analysts have pointed to the importance of older consumers, especially as younger shoppers become more value-sensitive. Some heritage houses forgot that mature customers do not want to be treated like background characters in a campaign built for teenagers. The 15th reason is creative churn. When designers change often, the brand can feel less like a house and more like a content schedule. That is money with memory, and it expects respect. Newness is important. But constant reinvention can confuse customers who bought into a world, not just a rotating mood board. Luxury needs surprise with memory. Without memory, the product becomes expensive fashion noise. The 16th reason is that social media made luxury more visible, then made it easier to criticize. The house needs a pulse, not a personality crisis every season. The same platforms that turned bags and shoes into viral trophies now turn price hikes and defects into public evidence. One unhappy buyer can post a story. Thousands can compare it to their own. Suddenly, the private complaint becomes a market signal. The 17th reason is too much product. Luxury talks about scarcity, but shoppers often see endless drops, capsules, colors, and seasonal pushes. The internet did not create the problem. It made the problem visible. When everything is special, special becomes tired. True scarcity creates longing. Fake scarcity creates suspicion. Overproduction creates discounts, outlet pressure, and resale clutter. The 18th reason is outlet and off-price behavior. Customers have learned that patience can be rewarded. Drops can create excitement, but too many drops create exhaustion. If a shopper sees luxury-adjacent products marked down elsewhere, full price starts feeling like a tax on impatience. That does not destroy the top houses overnight, but it changes how the middle of luxury feels. The 19th reason is that experiences are stealing the emotional budget. The customer learns to wait. Bain has said experiences and emotion are becoming major engines of luxury growth as goods face pressure. A trip, dinner, concert, wellness retreat, or private class can feel more alive than another item sitting in a closet. When people are tired of owning, luxury must compete with living. The 20th reason is that some brands mistook heat for loyalty. A viral product can make a quarter look strong. It does not guarantee that customers trust the house. Heat says people are watching. Loyalty says people will return after the trend fades. Those are not the same thing. The 21st reason is that fashion cycles got too fast for luxury prices. When a silhouette looks dated in a year, shoppers hesitate to pay forever money for temporary relevance. That is why timelessness is not boring. It is a financial argument. The 22nd reason is repair and aftercare. A luxury purchase should not feel abandoned after the card clears. Customers notice when repairs are slow, unclear, expensive, or inconsistent. They notice when care feels like another revenue stream. The best brands understand that aftercare is not a back office. It is proof that the promise continues. The 23rd reason is ethical pressure. Shoppers ask harder questions about labor, sourcing, waste, and transparency. Not every buyer will pay more for sustainability, but many will punish a brand if the story feels fake. Luxury cannot sell timeless craft while behaving like disposable fashion with a better address. The 24th reason is that the middle class is financially stretched. Inflation, housing, credit costs, tuition, insurance, and food have made symbolic purchases easier to question. Even people with decent incomes now think twice before turning savings into a status object. The 25th reason is that luxury trained customers to research. Once shoppers learned to study leather types, watch movements, stitching, production regions, and resale values, they became harder to fool. Education is good for real craft. It is dangerous for lazy prestige. LVMH showed resilience, but its fashion and leather goods business still faced pressure, including an organic decline in early 2026. This matters because when the biggest luxury group slows, it signals that the issue is not just one weak label. Kering reported heavy pressure in 2025, with group revenue down and its flagship turnaround still unfinished. Gucci became the clearest warning sign because a famous name can still lose momentum when customers question direction, price, and desire. Hermès remained stronger than many rivals, with 2025 revenue growth at constant exchange rates and a powerful operating margin. Hermès proves the harsh point. Customers will still pay very high prices when they believe craft, scarcity, service, and value are aligned. Richemont showed another split in the market, with jewelry houses performing far better than many watch and fashion categories. Cartier and its sister jewelry maisons benefit from emotional durability. Jewelry can feel like ceremony, inheritance, and portable wealth. Van Cleef & Arpels shows how symbols can stay powerful when they feel consistent, collectible, and tied to gifting. Prada Group grew in 2025 while much of luxury struggled, helped by discipline, brand heat, and a strong younger sister brand. Miu Miu became one of the clearest examples of desire still working when product, styling, and cultural timing feel fresh. Burberry showed that turnaround is possible, but it also showed how painful it is when a heritage brand loses focus and must rebuild trust. Chanel faces one of the loudest consumer debates because shoppers often compare its price moves with perceived quality and service. Louis Vuitton remains culturally massive, but even giants must prove that icons still feel special when logos are everywhere. Dior shows the creative transition risk. A famous house can be loved and still face scrutiny when customers wait to see the next chapter. Rolex sits in a different lane, where scarcity, authorized dealers, secondary prices, and waiting lists create both desire and frustration. Omega shows how watch brands can struggle when buyers compare heritage, movement, price, availability, and resale confidence. The watch market reminds us that luxury is not one market. Jewelry, leather goods, watches, beauty, and clothing move differently. That is why saying luxury is dead is lazy. The real story is sharper. Weak value propositions are being punished. Customers are not suddenly poor in taste. They are richer in information. They know the difference between expensive and exceptional. They know a famous logo cannot carry a weak product forever. The most controversial idea is this. Some luxury brands may have overcharged the very people who made them famous. Those customers gave brands visibility, aspiration, and cultural motion. Then many were priced out and told it was exclusivity. But exclusion is not always prestige. Sometimes exclusion is just a smaller room. Luxury leaders often say, high prices protect the dream. But a dream too far away can stop being a dream and become background noise. Another hidden shift is emotional revenge. During the boom, people bought to celebrate survival, freedom, and reopening. Now the mood is more sober. The purchase must justify itself in daylight, not just in the afterglow of a strange era. The customer who once said, "I deserve this," now says, "Do they deserve my money?" That single question is shaking luxury more than any trend forecast. The brands that win next will not be the loudest. They will be the clearest. They will explain why the product exists, why it costs so much, why it lasts, and why the customer matters after purchase. They will stop treating the entry customer as disposable and the loyal customer as guaranteed. They will make stores feel human again, not like museums guarded by sales targets. They will slow down enough for products to become memories, not just posts. They will use scarcity carefully because customers can smell when scarcity is a costume. They will remember that craft is not a caption. It must be visible in the object and felt in the service. They will respect resale, not fear it, because resale is where many buyers learn whether the promise survived. They will understand that younger shoppers do not hate luxury. They hate being manipulated. They will understand that older shoppers do not hate fashion. They hate being ignored. They will understand that the middle-class dreamer is not a nuisance. That person is often the storyteller. The danger for luxury is not that everyone stops buying. The danger is that fewer people care. Once care disappears, even a famous logo becomes decoration. The biggest takeaway is simple. Luxury is not losing customers because people stopped wanting beauty, status, or craft. It is losing them where price rose faster than meaning, where service felt colder, where quality felt less certain, and where culture moved on. The strongest houses are not surviving because they are expensive. They are surviving because customers still believe the expense has a reason. The weaker houses are discovering that heritage is not a shield. It is a debt that must be paid back with product, respect, and trust. So the next time you see a luxury price tag, do not ask only, "Can I afford it?" Ask, "Does this brand still respect the customer who made it famous?" If yes, the dream may still be alive. If no, the logo may be the least valuable part of the whole purchase. Like this video if it made you look at luxury differently, comment which brand still feels worth it, and share this with someone who loves fashion but hates being fooled.